Welcome to the Divine Feminine Podcast, where I am your host, Priestess Hanira Abunu. Here I support women in learning and applying the Divine Feminine principles into their lives. We talk about lifestyle, family, culture, and spirituality, all from a traditional African perspective. Welcome to the safe space. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Divine Feminine Podcast. Come on in. How are we in day who knows of quarantine? This episode's going to be a little different. I'm going to touch on some areas or topics that, can be a little uneasy for people, but I have to speak up and speak my mind and set my position. So, recap last week in episode 6, we talked about the retreat, which was beautiful with the women, and the way the energies and the divinities moved, and that it prepared us for where we are now and the time to come. So what I mean by that is at the retreat, we had divinations or readings done, and we were told to go into a 30-day detox. Each woman was given, what they would do, and it was that cleanse was to catapult them into their new beginning, to help them restart. And so each woman there was given their own particular charter, and it was just a beautiful thing. And I've been working with the women since then, and we've started the detox, and it's been a great thing. I opened it up on the internet, so now there's over 30 women all over the country, and you may say, oh, that's a small number, or that's, but for me, considering I just wanted to do a cleanse myself, and then it ended up being me and the women at the detox, at the training, and now it's evolved into what it is now. This was never my vision, and so I'm just blessed to know that this is timely, and the women are moving in that direction. And detox is important. It touches on something that we're going to be talking about in the future, and it talks on purification. It touches on purification in that you have to purify your blood, your lungs, your kidneys, all in the detox or cleanse process. That's what you're actually cleansing. You're cleansing the toxins and the unpure things out of your organs and out of your body, your blood, so that it can run properly, so that it can heal properly. And some people out there have never done this. They've never done a cleanse. They've never cleaned their blood. And it's time that we start doing that. There's, dirtiness in our blood from what we eat, what we drink, smoke, what we ingest in the environment. All of that is put into our blood, and it cleanses on the physical, but also on the spiritual level, right? Because everything that's seen is also, there's an unseen aspect to that. Remember that everything that you see, there's also an unseen aspect to it. Everything in existence has an unseen aspect to it. So it's important to clean out your organs to help purify yourself, your spiritual self. And some people like to say it's an ascension, it helps you to ascend. But the way I see it as a priest, in keeping your organs clear, it keeps a clear channel of communication between you and your ancestors. It keeps a clear communication between you and the divine world. There's no way that you can clearly give messages out through prayer, lamentation, spell casting, whatever you choose to call it, talking with their ancestors. There's no way you can give messages out. Even the mental messages, the thoughts that we have, we can't invoke any of that with unclear channels. Depending on if you want to take it from a science perspective, you could say the frequency. Your frequency is unclear or fuzzy, like listening to a radio station and there's a whole bunch of static in it. And so when the static is there, it's unclear. You can't get good reception. You can't get your messages out. And you also cannot receive messages as well. And so it's important to cleanse the body. Helps keep the immune system high. Helps with weight loss as well. And from a spiritual perspective, again, in doing these cleanses and detox, it benefits your wellness and overall spiritual health and connection with the divine world. So that was last week, episode 6. And like I said, so episode 7, we're talking about that, yes, but I also want to talk on some other relevant topics. So we've been in detox now for 5 days, I believe. We started the 1st of May, and we are full-fledged in the detox. So congratulations to all the women out there who are focusing on their self-care in May. Congratulations to all the women out there who are raising their discipline level up a notch, who are committing to themselves in the month of May to transform, to cleanse, detox, and transform. If you would like to join us, go right ahead. We welcome you. In addition to the eating, we're eating alkaline. Those of you who know me personally, I'm doing more of a liquid fast or liquid cleanse, I should say, this particular month. But most of the women are doing alkaline. But wherever you are, wherever you are in your cleansing process, wherever you feel led or drawn to cleanse, maybe you just want to do sun up and sundown. Maybe you want to give up fried foods and sugar and dairy. Anything that you decide to do, make that decision and stick to it, and just have the discipline. Don't be back and forth. Don't be flip-flop. Don't do any of those things. Just make the decision and then do it. But addition to the food, right? Addition to the food, there's other things that we're doing to align ourselves in the detox. We're meditating for at least 30 minutes every day. We're also reading. We're reading, and we're staying away from music with words. We are also abstaining from sex, no sex. And that may, ladies who are married, you have to get permission from your husband for that. In addition to no sex, no music with words, we're also shooting to drink a gallon of water a day. If you can't drink a gallon, as much as you can, as much water as you can, you want to build up and get to as much water as possible. So these are just some of the things. I have the full list on my Instagram, on Facebook. So check it out at Hanera Abunu. If you guys aren't following me, you should be, just so we can stay connected online. My personal page is Hanera Abunu. Of course, the podcast page is Divine Feminine Podcast. But also, I wanted to add to that, in addition to all of those things, we're also cleaning our blood. Right? So we're cleaning our blood with more than just the restrictions of the food and flushing our system out with water. We're also using blood cleansers. We're using kidney cleansers and liver cleansers, which I have on sale for you guys. If you need any type of cleansers, now these are herbs, natural herbs that have been grown and harvested in Africa and procured and brought to America and put together in a very sacred process. And so these particular herbs focus on the lungs, the kidneys, and the liver. And so that's what the blood cleanser, the kidney cleanser, and liver cleanser is for. And so if you guys need those, you can email me or direct message me, and I'll get all of your information, give you the payment information. The cost is between $60 to $75 for the cleansers. The spiritual bath that we're using, now this is a spiritual cleanser. It's a soap that you can use throughout the whole month to cleanse your aura, to cleanse your star, to cleanse your spiritual field. So this is the unseen. This is your energetic field. Your vibrational level, as to speak. This is a cleanse or soap that helps with that, to neutralize any energies that you have that are weighing you down or low vibrational, and then it helps to raise your vibration or energy field as well. And it also, in addition to that, so that's the first thing it does. In addition to that, it also draws you closer to the Divine Mother. And so anything that you need that is under the realm of the Divine Mother, which everything in existence she is a part of, so there's nothing you could really ask for that she isn't the mother of. But anything you would need from her, you have a way to access her and access it. This is the spiritual soap. You guys forgive me. I'm only drinking liquid, so I'm drinking a lot of water, so it's going to be hard for me to talk this whole time without drinking water. So there may be times in this podcast where I'm going to be drinking water, and that'll be for all the podcasts for the whole month of May. So just know that I'm holding true to the things that I'm proposing to the women and to those who accompany or follow me on this journey. I don't just talk it, I walk it as well. But yes, so the spiritual soap, if you'd like that, along with the other cleansers, the spiritual soap is $100. And that should last you, depending on how you use soap, that should last you for most of the month. I will give directions on the soap. It is a soap that you use it once a day. You do not use it at night, so you want to take your baths during the day. You want to make sure that when you wake up in the morning, you don't talk to anyone. You go, do your personal hygiene, brush your teeth, wash your face, and then you take your shower. It is in that shower that you use your spiritual soap. And it's in that shower that you begin to speak to the Divine Mother and give your wishes. And so that is the process that you go through when using this particular soap. It's very magical, very, very powerful, and it needs to be used appropriately in the appropriate context. And so that's the way you use that soap, and you'll start to see things change and evolve in your life. And so we're using all of these things to really catapult us into June and the next phase of our lives. So I'm excited for all the women who are embarking on this journey and are courageous enough to move forward and answer the call in their destination and bring their discipline levels to a new high. So congratulations to all the ladies. In addition to that, I wanted to touch on some topics I don't normally touch on in the show. But the climate of society right now is such to where I feel led to speak on what's going on, right? Those of you who follow me, those of you who check out my page and know me know I've spoke in depth about COVID-19 and its effect on the world and the underlying issues. And I think at this point, we're in May, we're all starting to see what people like myself and other people have been saying since, the very beginning. Yes, there is a shift. So we understand the big picture, right? The big picture is there's a shift. The shift has happened. And this shift is allowing for traditional people and the people who take care of the earth and align themselves with nature to rise. And so in order to do that, in order for that to happen, all of these things we see are happening. So we start with COVID-19. And so now we get down to some of the macro or smaller cycles and things that are happening. So we understand on a big picture, big level what's going on, right? And that's good for us to keep perspective. And so we know that we have to move to a healthier lifestyle. We know that we have to align ourselves with nature and more than just our eating habits. Right now we're focused on our eating habits because of COVID-19, and people are dying at alarming rates and getting sick at alarming rates because of their susceptibility to this particular virus. And so this is what's on everyone's mind. But keep in mind, you will have to align yourself with nature in more ways than just your diet in order to survive in the future. And what do I mean by that? I mean that yes, nature provides natural remedies for food. Nature provides natural remedies to boost your immune system. And those are the things that we're looking to now. But one of the things that we're also faced with is our economy. Our economy and how the government with this virus has been able to shut down our society. And there's many people out of work. There's many people who don't have a way to take care of themselves. Government aid, I personally don't subscribe to any of that, but it's all up to the individual. But even if you do receive the government aid and the stimulus money, guess what? It's not enough to take care of you and your family. This change, this shift is changing the way we live. And so even in thinking about the economics, thinking about the economics in our economy and moving forward and how we're going to live, we will also have to look to nature and traditional ways for living. So what do I mean by that? Right? What do I mean by that? So I mean, in order to survive, we will have to look to traditions and look to nature, the original way for our family structure, the original way for our housing structure, the original way, how did our ancestors take care of themselves? We're going to have to look to nature for more than just natural remedies on eating and boosting our immune system. Right now, and what do I mean? But I'm going to give you some examples. Right now, with our economy the way it is, so many people are out of work. It would be ideal, and this is my suggestion and my recommendation, for the women, right? Because I'm speaking to the women, right? This is our platform where we talk about love, life, culture, spirituality, all from a traditional perspective. And so as women, we have to start putting our minds around how do we survive and how do our families survive during this time. Most people in the Black community are out of work. If you're not a government worker, if you're not a medical worker, or someone who's considered essential, you're out of work right now, which means you are in a process where you can reinvent yourself. And so what do we have to do? We have to combine forces, right? In order for our families and for our society to survive, we need to go back to traditional ways. Traditional ways. What are traditional ways for living and supporting ourselves? Traditional ways are communal ways. We live traditionally in nature. We group together in villages. Our families come together. When you go into the forest and into some of the rural areas, you don't see human beings living isolated by themselves. You cannot live isolated in nature by yourself. You can't do it for long periods of time. You need other human beings around you because there's too much to do in nature for one human being, right? And so you share the responsibility together. Everyone can't go hunting all day. If someone's hunting, looking for food all day, then who's at the house, or at the campsite washing the clothes? If someone's washing the clothes all day, then who is taking care of the children? Who is doing the other task that needs to be done, the building or the reconstruction of the hut, or who is grinding the food that was made or brought the other day? Like, there's so many components and jobs that need to be done to hold a family together in nature, that you have to come together. That is the reason we come together, to support and to help one another towards the common goal of survival. And so you have families that live together, and even within the families, different families come together and build villages together. And each family has a certain thing that they specialize in. Well, this particular family, they grow wheat. Or this particular family, they are fishermen. Or this particular family, they are blacksmith. Or this particular family is a family of priests. Every family in the village has its specialty, and not one family is more important than the other. So what am I saying, and how does that apply to the world in which we live in today? All right. So what I'm proposing is that as women, we come together and connect our families together with other people. And I prefer it to be family, right? So what this society tells us, let me just explain my point further. So what this society tells us is that, at 18, you should move out and get your own place. And you should live alone. And you should have all this room and space. That's how you gain your independence. That's how you gain your freedom from your parents. And they build this whole image or facade. You need to move away. You don't need your family anymore. You don't need anyone, actually. You need to go out into the world and conquer and create your own. And so you have a whole society full of people who don't live together. We don't depend on each other. Most of us live alone until we start building families, right? The single women out there, you live alone, right? In this day and age, depending on where you are, certain parts of the city where it's really costly to live, they've started maybe roommating. They've started campus living, so to speak. Outside of college, people are still doing the campus living. And what is that? That's communal living. That's communal living. Communal living is the way we live traditionally. We live communally. We live together. So what am I proposing to the women specifically? I'm proposing that during this time, we have to strategize on the best ways to help our families thrive, to help ourselves thrive. And communal living is a strategy. Communal living is a strategy. Now, I would suggest proper communal living. You need to have 3 generations in the same home. 3 generations in the same home. So you have an elder above you, and you have the children below you. You have an elder above you, and children below you. If you are the elder, then you have some young people and their children below you. If you are the elder, then you have young people and their children below you. In the household, you need to have 3 generations. This is the way we live communally, traditionally, And we need to look to nature's model in order to do that. And each level in the family holds a different place, right? Each level in the family holds a different place. Okay? You have the elder, whether it's male, female. The elder comes with wisdom. The elder comes with insight. The elder comes with experience. Most elders, they also come, they have some type of financial contribution, right? Because they've worked their whole lives and hopefully they've saved or have a retirement, they have a pension, they have interest from real estate, they have some type of income. Whether it's great or small, they have some type of income to contribute to the household. Although the elder would not be working, the elder would be home, right? So you have someone home in the household, okay, giving wisdom and guidance. The elder has a level of patience. The elder can oversee and give feedback over the household and how it's running. The elder can support and help with the children, with the grandchildren, with the younger children, help them, guide them in their behavior, guide them in their paths, help provide some type of even child care. You know, I wouldn't put the elder as like the primary child care provider in the home. I wouldn't put the elder as the primary educator in the home. However, the elder does have their own wisdom and education that they bestow in the family. And that shouldn't be eliminated. That shouldn't be overlooked. They have a way of doing things that, and they can reach the young people in ways maybe their parents can. So the elder is necessary in the home. And then you have the parents, right? The parents are the ones working. They're the ones going out. Now, there needs to be at least one person in the home in this particular time that is essential. So whether that one person is working for the government, they are a FedEx or Uber driver, they're in the medical field, whoever is essential during this time, you need to have one person attached to this colonial Western system in order to continue to live and survive and pay bills. You have to have that one person, right? So we'll say, for the sake of this example, this is the man, the husband in the house, one of the men in the house, okay? Not necessarily the elder, but one of the men in the house. We'll say the husband. Okay, he's connected, and so he goes out, he works every day. We know how this system sucks your energy, so we know when he comes home, he wants to eat and sleep. This system sucks your energy so bad you can't produce anything other than what they pay you to produce. You can't produce your dreams. You can't do anything for yourself. This system sucks us so bad that by the time we're done with our 8, 12, 16-hour day, we are no good to even ourselves. So this particular person, they work and come home. They bring their money that they work in the system, they bring it to the house. So you have the elder who has some resources, but more knowledge, wisdom, patience, and is in the home to help the home, the foundation of the home. You have the man who is an essential worker, has the most income, and is stable in the colonial world to help manage the bills of the household. Okay. Now let's talk about the home itself, the inside of the home. So the inside of the home should be kept by those, we'll say the woman. It should be kept by the woman, right? And the woman or the other person who is at home, that woman is responsible for the cooking, the cleaning, the homeschooling, okay, the shopping, the taking care of the essential worker or the husband, the taking care of the elder. You know, depending on how big the family is, that woman will need help, right? She may need another woman. There may need to be more than just one woman in the house. They may need to have the kids. The kids should be helping anyway, but depending on the age of the children, you know, the children will have to carry some of this burden as well. And in addition to all of that, right, maintaining the household, in addition to maintaining the household, there should also be a family business. So if you are one of the people who is out of work right now, you know, I say you are fortunate enough to be out of work right now. And why do I say you're fortunate enough to be out of work? I say that you're fortunate enough to be out of work because you've been given a 3-month pause, right, in order to set your life on a new trajectory. So that business you've been wanting to open, or that creative talent that you have that you've been wanting to explore, now is the time to launch your business, because this is your intelligence and your gift that your ancestors have been giving you. You guys know I'm a priest, so I will invoke or infuse the spiritual side, you know, in our conversation. And I have to take a moment and do that right here. You know, right here, I would say that some of us who are at home right now, we have the fortunate opportunity to start our businesses, to start expressing the gifts and talents that our ancestors have given us, right? And so if you've been in meditation, you've been speaking to your ancestors, you've been on that path, you know, you set up your altar, you set up that time, you've been searching for what makes you happy, and they've been telling you, giving you ideas, showing you different things, certain ways you are in the future, showing you yourself. And you have all of these ideas, but you haven't been able to fulfill them because, again, when you're working for the system, it sucks you dry. There is no time. You've been trying to work on your business plan. You've been trying to launch these ideas that have been given to you, but you haven't. And so now that you're home, yes, you have an obligation to take care of the house. Yes, you have an obligation to take care and homeschool the children. Yes, you have an obligation to take care of the elders in the community. but you also have an obligation to yourself. You also have an obligation to fulfill, excuse me, you also have an obligation to fulfill the calling and destiny on your life. And so some of you should be starting a business, because remember, the goal is to align yourself with nature. And so the goal isn't to stay attached to this colonial system. So eventually we want the home-based business to flourish to where the essential worker doesn't have to work the system anymore. They can support the family business. They can start to receive some type of dividend or payback for all the money and energy that they've given to the family, and that's been taken from them, right? So we need to have some type of family business going and starting and supported, so that eventually it will grow into something that is self-sustaining for the family. Again, everything is for the survival of the group of people that you decide to come together with. You see how that works? So you have the essential worker, you have the person in the home who's taking care of the home. That person may also be the person who is the entrepreneur, right? Or you may have another person in the home that's the entrepreneur, and there's just one person who supports the family, takes care of the family, and maybe supports the entrepreneur here or there, or supports the essential worker. And of course, you have the elder who is helping to oversee and give wisdom over it all. Do you see how this is working? Do you see what I'm saying? And then what do? We reduce the cost of our overhead of expenses by moving together. So we're no longer paying 2 and 3 rents. We're only paying 1 rent. We're reducing our expenses. Okay? You have someone in the home who's responsible for food, for cooking. So now we're not eating out every day. We're not spending $20, $30 a day on food. All that money is going back into the household, saving within the household, because guess what? There's lunches that are packed for those who have to leave the house. For the essential worker, your lunch is packed every day. You have food. For the kids who are home, they're eating the food that is prepared for them. There's no eating out. There's no Postmates. There's no Uber Eats. There's no McDonald's. No, we're cooking our meals at home. And cooking from scratch, cooking is a full-time job when you think about all the people and the responsibilities you have. Yeah, it can be. All 3 meals, that has to be planned out and prepared. Women, we need to get back on our job. You are saving money by preparing your meals at home. In addition, there's no more dry cleaning. We don't need to dry clean. I don't even know if the dry cleaners are even open right now. Are they essential or not? Either way, it's an expense that can be cut, and we bring that into the home. We don't need that. That's something as women we should be taking back and doing. We should be doing our family's laundry. You have the children help you. I don't care how old your children are. If they're old enough to walk and talk, they can help, even if they just carry the detergent. Right? Even if they just help you bring the basket of laundry. The children need to be helping in the household. That's part of what causes women so much stress is that they're not teaching the kids how to do their chores and to work. The women are taking on all of this responsibility, and they're not asking or teaching the children and bringing them along to help. No, these kids should be helping. When you go to the villages in Africa, when you go back home traditionally, I tell you what, if those kids can walk, they're helping their mother. If those kids can walk, they are helping their mother. Whether it's helping their mother with the chore at hand, or if it's helping their mother with their younger siblings. Yeah, there's a hierarchy to this. You know, we haven't even got into that of how the hierarchy in the family works and how the children need to behave or answer the hierarchy within the children and the parents. We haven't even talked about that. But there's a hierarchy. These children should be self-governing and taking care of themselves. Right? There should be no running, no tattletelling. There should be no sitting down watching TV and mama has to run around and do everything. No, that's not traditions. Mama has too much to do. You understand that? No. These children have to work, so we need to take a traditional model in order to survive in this next turn, this next phase. And so you have to have the elder, right? You have to have the parents, and you have to have the children. 3 generations, right? The children are the next generation. We need the children. They have the strength. They are the ancestor coming, right? The children are necessary. They give life. They keep the family going. And they are your workforce. They are the ones you teach them, you show them the way, and as they get older, grow older, they will begin to model the parent. They should model the parent and help and be more and more of an asset. Okay? And so all three levels are important in the family, and we need to go back to that. That is the way we will survive in this next age. So it's more than just the detoxing. It's more than just the cleansing and eating natural in order to raise and boost our immune system. It's more than that. We have to look to nature and align ourselves with nature and tradition in other ways, right? And it starts with the household, ladies. We have to figure out how to survive in this next phase. And so that's something for you to consider. That's something for you to consider. And you may say, yeah, it sounds good, but, how does this work? I don't have any family. How does this work? I can't live with nobody else. Well, you know what? That's where the spiritual growth comes in. Because a lot of us have damaged relationships with our families that we need to mend. We have damaged relationships with our family that we need to mend so that this can work. And you say, well, my family's on a different path. They don't accept me in the path that I'm living. Okay, well, guess what? If you don't want to face that, there's other people who are like-minded like you that you can be living with. What does communal living look like for you? That's all I'm saying is, what does it look like for you? How, if it's not 3 generations, then it should at least be 2 generations. It should definitely be 2 generations. What does that look like for you? You have to have someone who is bringing in some stable income. right? And you have to have someone at home. That's necessary. And most times, it'll be a few people at home and the essential worker taking care of the bills. And you can say, well, that's not fair to the essential worker. Guess what? Those people at home should be earning their keep and should be working just as hard. You should be getting your business started, right? We don't have time to waste right now, people. We have to use the gifts and talents that our ancestors have given us, right? We have to fulfill that. We've been given this window to reinvent ourselves, so we need to do it. And we need to do it at the level in which we're at. Okay? And so you're at home, you're working. You're taking care of the children. You're taking care of the house. The house should be clean. The house should definitely be clean. The meals should be made. Food should be cooked. You should be, whoever's at home, that is guaranteed. You say, well, that's a lot of work. I know it is. And in addition to this, we haven't even talked about the food and how we need to start building our own gardens. Do you understand that most of the work is at home? Most of the work is at home. Yeah, the essential worker, they're going out, they're getting a paycheck. But most of the work that needs to be done in this next time will be done in the household. We need to be growing our own food. That's a means of control. If they decide to close these grocery stores, what are you going to do for survival? Instacart? Come on now. We need to be growing our own food. That is absolutely mandatory. We need to be cooking our own meals. Part of the reason we're so unhealthy is because of all the processed foods, fried foods, fatty foods, all the overconsumption of meat, all the dairy. It's the foods that we consume. We need to know what's going into our body, and the only way to control that is to prepare the food ourselves. So we need to prepare lunches for those who are going out to work, because we need them healthy and strong as well. Right? Woman, if you're at home, you are the healer of that house. All the food you make should be medicine. Right? When you make that spaghetti sauce, you should be putting sea moss in your spaghetti sauce. You should be putting all types of herbs and minerals to boost the immune system. That spaghetti sauce should be full of fresh basil and ginger and all, turmeric. It should be filled with all the cayenne pepper. It should have all types of healing herbs. We are the healers of our family. So this isn't an easy task. This is something that we're going to need to work at together. This is something that's going to take time to implement. Okay? But it's something that we can definitely do. So just a quick recap on this podcast before I let you go. We need to turn to nature and more than just our healthy eating and more than just natural eating. We need to look to nature for how they dealt with economics and survival. Specifically in this podcast, we covered communal living and how structuring our family and living situation to fit today's society, what that looks like. Having 3 levels in the household: the elder, the parent, and the child. 3 levels with at least 2 sources of income coming in and at least 1 family business. And all of the products and services that the family needs, we should be producing them internally. Whether it's the food, whether it's laundry, whether it's washing, whether it's education, or growing our own food. As much as possible that we can control and manage in the house, we need to produce it in the home. In addition, we need to have a home-based business. And we understand in the beginning that won't be bringing in any type of income. If anything, it'll be using resources. But we need to start it, and start it now, and get it off the ground. We need to be using the genius that ancestors have given us. So this is just a recap. We'll go into it further a little bit later. Thank you for listening to another good episode of the Divine Feminine Podcast. This is episode 7. We're going to name this one Communal Living. Be well. To schedule a spiritual reading, life coaching session, or to order herbs and tonics, please see our website, divinefeminine.net. If you would like information on our trip to Africa in August, please email haneraabunu@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to the Divine Feminine Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, share, and join the conversation on social media. You can find us on all social media outlets at Hanera Abunu.